PvP, a place where you go to lose. I tried it out and my expectations were mildly succumbed when I spawned in Lumbridge over and over and over again, but I still thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun, even though I am really bad at it. Now, it does have one single flaw though, the people who do it, or at least the vocal minority. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of PvP in old school RuneScape? Maybe one of these options. Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? It's probably one of these three options. Let's be honest here. And honestly, it doesn't even matter what the options are. It is widely known that PvP is one of the most controversial topics in this game because for the most part, wilderness has turned into this predator versus prey zone rather than people clashing it out in PvP style. A few days ago, I asked my subscribers what was their favorite preferred playstyle in old school RuneScape, and it didn't come to me as a surprise when I saw PvP in the last spot with only 6% of the votes. I mean, it lost to questing. Seriously, people think doing most hated quest in this game is more fun than having hot, sweaty battles with the boys. But maybe that's the problem though. PvP just isn't gay enough. All of that masculinity just pushed down. It doesn't matter. I'm getting carried away. What I want to talk about today is what's been happening in the PvP scene in the last 6 months and how it came to a point where a clan made death threats to a Jagex employee because they didn't agree with his opinion, but we're already jumping ahead. Let's start from the beginning. PvP has been a hot topic for quite a while now, even though it has the lowest activity out of all the activities you can do in old school RuneScape. One of the reasons why that is because players who have PvP'd for years have kind of figured out how to do it, and unless you've been doing it for years yourself, it's kind of hard to get into PvP without either putting hundreds of hours of suffering into it until you get somewhat decent. PvM, skilling, glues, quests, all accessible to you as soon as you make a new account. PvP is the only one that is soft locked behind other players. And the problem reaches even further where Jagex employees who are supposed to give new updates are not PvP players themselves, which, you know, it's like me trying to invent vaccines to a virus. I don't know what I'm doing. So we're kinda in a pickle where Jagex releases 3 iterations of Bounty Hunter, they all fail, multiple instances of Deadman mode. Well, okay, they were actually pretty fun. But you guessed it, PvP clans DDoSed the servers, so nobody was allowed to have fun. Then we have Revenant Caves, that was an absolute mess on the release, and throughout every single update that reflects on PvP, it becomes more of this prey versus predator style of gameplay, where having a fair fight was never gonna be the option in the first place. And it didn't help that people who weren't planning to do PvP anyways had the option to always vote no on PvP updates. So it was just a mess overall with no clear direction. It seemed like there was never gonna be a solution where players are satisfied with the updates that come out, and thanks to that, Jagex was kind of forced to release all the PvP updates in the last few years half finished because of either pushback from players or the people who worked on these updates didn't know what they were doing. The conclusion is, Wildy has turned into this barren wasteland that nobody really wants to go unless you're forced to go there with a glue step or you want a cheap alternative to draining prayer. But neither of them really initiates PvP, which makes the game zone kinda dead. And that sentence leads us to the topic I wanna share with you today. Firstly, let's hear what mod Kirby had to say about this.
The problem is wilderness kind of needs to be dead, because if the wilderness was a hotbed for PKers, all that would happen is no one would go there because it's full of PKers. Why would you go train your prayer at the Chaos Altar? Because you're just going to get PKs for all of your bones.
Oh my god. Okay, first of all, did you see Isa's reaction as soon as those words came out of Kirby's mouth? That is the funniest shit I have ever seen. Let's watch it again.
Kind of needs to be dead, because if the wilderness was a hotbed for PKers, all that would happen is no one would go there because it's full of PKers. Why would you go?
Okay, that is just too funny. Immediately be like, oh boy, you done messed up now. You definitely picked the wrong words in the wrong order. Now, in defense of Kirby, I think what he said makes total sense. You do want Wildy to be this barren wasteland that isn't a hotspot like GE or Raids lobby. Lore-wise, it's supposed to be this scary place to go, and once you enter, you know the risk you're taking. If we suddenly have 500 people chilling in Wildy, then it just becomes another hotspot. But the way he phrased it was, I think, what triggered a lot of PKers, because the first time you hear it, your immediate thought is, oh, now the J-mods hates us the PKers as well. Which was not the case at all, but it makes sense that's what you're thinking if you've been only PKing for the last decade, which resulted you having less than a single brain cell left. I'm sorry. That was mean. Please don't send me death threats, please. Just FYI for the PKers, these are what we humans call jokes. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. I'm gonna stop. I promise. Back to the topic. I swear there is a PK right now fuming, being like, I am not stupid. Anyways, Jagex Kirby says those words that maybe in hindsight should have been picked more carefully, but trust me, I made the same mistakes multiple times, so I feel you, Kirby. And lo and behold, all hell breaks loose. Well, okay, not really. There was just one clan who got really upset in public space, and it was Frontline. Now, they are mostly known for being the most toxic clan in the old school RuneScape community. They don't really have any achievements besides that, but the one thing they are good at is making death threats. So when Kirby came out with that unfortunate statement, this is what they had to say. This is a public warning made towards Kirby. If there is any more bullshit coming from your ugly face, we will be forced to intervene. The last Jagex moderator that we had problems with ended up having to double name change in real life. This is your first and final warning, Mod Kirby. Hush. Now, that is a lot to take in, so let's start from the beginning. My immediate thought was how fragile is your ego if your greatest achievement in your life is controlling a small part of the map of a 20-year-old medieval MMO, and you feel like you have to protect that part of the map to a point where you're threatening other human beings for their life. My second thought was, okay, I don't expect much from these people. Being smart is not one of their stronger suits, but I find it hilarious how they had hours or even days to make that tweet, and the best thing they could come up with was ugly face. That's it. I swear there was someone behind that Twitter account just furiously trying to come up with a clever insult and thought saying ugly face was the pinnacle of insults. And creme de la creme of the post ends with talking how Mod Chad, the Jagex moderator who used his admin privileges to scam players, had to double name change in real life because of Frontline, even though it was pretty clear to anyone that the only reason he did it was because otherwise he would have never gotten a job again, and not because some PKing clan made him do it. So that post comes out, immediately shit hits the fan. Imagine being pregnant for 9 months, then having to physically push a child out of your body, only for that child to end up in a clan of a Java game that writes something like this. Someone cut the crust of this man's sandwich before he necks it. We will be forced to intervene. This is your first and final warning. And it keeps going. This is your first and final warning. I can't. This is like a fever dream right now. I swear, if it comes to insulting other RuneScape players, we are absolutely godlike on that. What the actual fuck is wrong with RS PvP clans? And it keeps going and going and going. And not even 30 minutes after this tweet goes out, a Reddit post appears, and somehow Reddit has even better roasts. Makes you wonder who the fuck these people think they are. What do you think is gonna happen when you make thinly veiled threats against people? Cause it ain't what you think it is. Imagine spending your pathetic life threatening a moderator of a 20-year-old medieval point-and-click simulator on a social media acting like you are some sort of mob boss. What no maidens does to a motherfucker. I'm stealing that joke, I don't even care. POV, you never touched a job application. I can't. That is so stupid. I can't wait to be in Frontline's stocks list after upvoting this. Hey, get in line, buddy. It's as long as it gets, okay? How are these guys going to intervene? Roll up on Jagex HQ on their mobility scooters? Okay, I'm gonna stop here. You get the point, I think. Otherwise, I'm just gonna break. This is so ridiculous. You don't see this, but it is the third time I'm trying to record this video right now because I keep breaking at these comments. It is so good. So, of course, Frontline has to respond back. Their masculinity has been damaged by mobility scooters and job applications, and they do respond back. It took them 2 entire days to come up with this tweet, and here is what it said. Keep crying for the bad boys in Frontline. Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. I promised I was gonna control myself in this video, but how can I ever take any of what you say seriously if you call yourselves the bad boys in 2022? If I didn't know who you were, I would say Frontline is the most fabulous gay fashionscape clan in RuneScape history. I mean, come on, man, who calls themselves the bad boys these days? I swear you make yourself look like the villains in High School Musical. Again, it took you 2 days to make that tweet, and that is the best you can come up with. Bad boys. Okay, whatever. Let's continue. Jagex should know much better than to make us their enemies. I love how everything is in caps lock, by the way, to make it seem like they're super angry. Cherry on top of the cake. Mwah. Okay, so Jagex should know much better than to make us their enemies. Corporate business entities work together. Andrew Gower is one of our many associates. Now, firstly, I never knew old school RuneScape clans are big enough to become corporate businesses. That is either the biggest pile of shit I ever heard, or I'm clearly missing out on a business opportunity here. Secondly, they tagged in Andrew Gower, one of the 3 brothers that created RuneScape. The problem was, they tagged in the wrong Andrew Gower. The guy they tagged in is a principal in a college in UK. He has nothing to do with RuneScape at all. I don't think he even knows what RuneScape is. This is how the guy they tagged looks like, and this is how Andrew Gower looks like, the guy who made RuneScape. They are 2 completely different people. And once again, it took them 2 days to prepare this tweet. Not to mention, Andrew Gower quit Jagex over a decade ago. He left Jagex in 2011 and started his own company. The guy has 0 affiliation with Jagex for over a decade, now yet somehow Frontline felt compelled to threaten Jagex with his name while they couldn't even tag the right person into their tweet. But trust me, it gets even more ridiculous. So let's continue. Ask Andrew Gower himself. They all know what we bring to the table, #untouchable. My man, what is exactly that you bring to the table? Because right now you're inventing the wheel again, but this time the wheel is a rectangle. All you're bringing to the table is making a fool of yourself. Of course, it went about as good as you would expect a threat that has no meaning behind it to go. They got thrashed, but that somehow fueled them even more, and just when you thought they can't dig a hole deeper than this, they posted another tweet 12 hours later that was towards a Reddit thread made against them a few days ago, and it went like this. Apparently, we were too vague without our original tweet made towards Kirby, so this time we're gonna clear things up, what we really meant. Keep your mouth shut if you know what's good for you. My man. That is even more vague than your previous tweet. Like, I know making some half-assed threads is what you're proficient at, and for Frontline members, proficient means successful, and for Frontline admins, successful means good. I hope I cleared that up. Also, thank you for setting the benchmark on stereotype that old school RuneScape PvP clans aren't toxic. That really hit the mark, didn't it? Trying to act like a mafia in children's MMO game just basically makes you take a step backwards on all the PvP changes and progress Jagex is trying to make. I mean, who wants to update this area of the game that is already dying, and on top of that people are sending you death threats if they don't agree with you? Now granted, there has been a lot of problems with Frontline before, to a point where I can't confirm this 100%, but I think Jagex started a formal investigation with the police on this clan, and their accounts have been banned multiple times, but you know what they say about cockroaches, right? They're doxing and hacking old school RuneScape players, there is blatant harassment towards other players, and most importantly, Kirby isn't the only J-Mod that was sent death threats. Here is Frontline leader Cassidy threatening Jagex Tyrann for his job because one of his accounts was banned for using cheat clients. And for future players who want to join this clan thinking, wow, that's amazing, I can't wait to join Frontline, those are so awesome people and we have an enjoyable experience. Okay, let me show you this. A Reddit post appeared a few years ago stating how a user wanted to join Frontline and they asked him to deposit 350 million GP as a startup, which firstly I think is super weird that nowadays you have to pay money to join clans. It's like there are free ones, why you spent your entire bank to join someone? And they basically ask from the person to get into risk fights until the gear gets more and more expensive. Eventually he dies, and even though the agreement was that you get gear back afterwards, the guy he was fighting logs out, and that's pretty much the entire story. He lost 600 million GP in total trying to join one of the scummiest clans out there. Classic bamboozle. So what's the conclusion here? Well, I think this video made it pretty clear who are the bad boys in the situation. Oh god, that sounds so gay. In any case, Jagex hasn't really done much to fix these things. These bad boys still play every day even though their accounts have been banned multiple times. It doesn't matter, they just make new ones. They're still part of the old school RuneScape community, and at the end of the day, if even death threats against Jagex employees aren't enough to severely punish someone, then I don't know what you have to do for Jagex to actually take action against you. So I guess what I want to say is, we're all kinda losers here. Yeah, let's go with that. I, on the other hand, hope you have an amazing day and you get a good drop or a level you've been looking for a while now. I'll see you again with a new exciting video in a few days, but for now, bye! Mwah.